Yeah. So my last question was, if we do have a significant aurora overnight and we're able to see it as far south as, West Virginia, that would be late tonight, early tomorrow, and the International Space Station sighting is in my area around 4:20 a.m. tomorrow. If the aurora happens, could that light interfere with the visibility of the ISS by chance?
I think it could, because you'll be, assuming you're cloudless and you could see the ISS, you're going to have aurora, potentially aurora between you and it. So they'll be looking down at the top of the aurora while you're looking up at the bottom of the aurora. It's really going to have, there are so many factors,
Yeah.
including, how far south the aurora is, where the station is on the horizon. So you may get a glimpse of it, you may get no glimpse of it, or you may get to see the whole thing. So it's really hard to say at this point. But I would encourage you to, if you're interested in the space station, definitely a few days from now, take a look and see if they got any good shots of the aurora, and I'm sure they'll probably broadcast those anyhow.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
One additional comment in regard to that, Chad, would be the uncertainty in regards to the timing of this event. Because you mentioned late tonight into Saturday morning. There's a good chance that it could be delayed and the peak of the storm will be later on Saturday into Saturday night. So
Yeah.
just keep that in mind with the timing of when the greatest impact is going to be from this event. We're saying as early as later today through the weekend, because pinning down the exact time is quite difficult.
Yeah. I can imagine.
And this is Brent Gordon. I'll add to that by saying there are still many CMEs out there, and more than likely more on the way. We can see this extending through the weekend into early next week, the way things stand right now.
Okay.
Remember one more of your questions. So relative to the solar cycle, yeah, we're heading to solar max, probably potentially, and we'll see. We only know that after the solar maximum has occurred, but there are absolutely more chances for big events as we crest the solar cycle peak and then head down towards solar minimum. So, the frequency will become less as the closer we get to solar minimum, obviously, but, the threat remains, and that's why we're here.
Okay.
And I'll say one more comment, and then I'll be quiet. In regard to what Rob was just mentioning there, if you look back in history, some of the biggest geomagnetic storming events have occurred on the downside of the solar cycle. People often get very excited as we're heading towards that peak, and when we think we're approaching the peak, we're thinking, maybe this is going to be the prime time, but actually we tend to get very big storms after that peak as well, so just keep that in mind.
So would an example of that be the Halloween storm in October of 2003?
Yeah, I think that's a good example. I can't remember exactly when the cycle peaked back then, but it was
I think it was about
at least 1 or 2 years earlier.
I think the peak was in the fall of 2001, so that would have been about 2 years after the peak.
Okay. All right. Good to know. Thank you very much.